Hello. Welcome back to the Let's Ditch Misophonia channel. I am very happy that you're here. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Brooklyn. I am a Misophonia Rewiring Coach. I suffered from misophonia for more than 20 years before finally clearing it through unconscious reprogramming. And now I support my clients in getting that relief for themselves. My mission is supporting as many people as possible in getting relief. And just some helpful information, I primarily work with adults who experience misophonia. I do have so many free resources though that are available for all ages. Today, we're going to talk about EFT or emotional freedom technique, also known as tapping. I'm going to share why I love EFT so much, why I think it's so effective, how I use it, why I use it, and we're also going to do an EFT session together in this video. So I am super excited. So let's dive into it. So first things first, what is EFT? What is emotional freedom technique? It is loosely based on Chinese acupuncture and acupressure. And essentially it's tapping on the energy meridian points in the body and really moving that emotion through and out of you. And I could spend more of your time going into EFT, what it is, how to use it, but I don't think that I am going to be able to explain it as effectively as some of these other resources. So check the description. I have some links there that go through exactly what EFT is, how it was created, how you can use it. I have all of that fun stuff in the description. What I want to share with you though is that EFT for me is, if nothing else, it's just 10-15 minutes for you to actually process the emotions that you're experiencing. Rather than shoving them deeper and deeper, and then letting them explode later, or allowing these emotions to stick around and cause you to engage in actions that aren't very useful for you. It's a way for you to just process and release and move those emotions out of your body. And again, we're tapping on those meridian points of the body. These negative emotions that we experience, it's almost like they're disrupting our body's system. And so we're helping rebalance that. So EFT is something for me that I personally really think is an amazing tool for clearing and releasing some of those like pesky stuck emotions. So I use this a lot with my clients because I've shared before, my perspective on misophonia is that it is a pattern that is running in the background in the unconscious mind. The pattern being typically some variation of your mind hears a noise, decides that this noise is a threat, creates an emotion in you like anger, disgust, frustration to get you to eliminate the threat or take action, which is leaving the room, plugging your ears, asking the person to stop, whatever it might be. So we can do all the reprogramming work that we want. Also, we know that emotions are very powerful and they're created with intention. So you can do all this work, you can be getting all these results, and then the strong emotion comes up within you and it sends you back to square one. So for me, EFT, I use this for myself, I use with clients. It's a really great way to just rebalance your system, clear out some of that crap, and create space for all the good things that you want to call into your life. You can also think of it kind of like an oil change, getting rid of all of that old oil and just filtering out the system and bringing in new oil so everything can run a bit smoother, run a bit better. That's what we're doing with EFT. So in this video, I am going to be showing you the basics of EFT, the tapping points, and kind of walk you through how to facilitate your own sessions. And then we will do kind of like a walkthrough of what a session might look like. If you want to do actual EFT tutorials with me, then go check out some of the other videos that I have on my channel where it's specifically just an EFT session. This video here is really more for the tutorial and walkthrough, so you get an understanding of what EFT is before you dive into a session, but we will kind of do some examples of what it might look like. So I want to say with EFT, it is okay and normal if you feel emotional as you're intentionally focusing on your emotions. So if you're doing EFT, if you're doing a session and you find yourself crying or laughing or burping or other weird things, that's okay. Your body is getting rid of the gunk, right? And making room for the new. Now, if you're doing EFT and it triggers something really traumatic for you and you're like bawling and really upset, that's different. That's where I encourage you to cut that session short and really find someone who can support you in processing that data and processing that trauma. I am not a trauma specialist. I'm a coach. I'm not a therapist. So if that is your experience, take care of yourself and find someone who can really support you with that before you go diving into EFT again. So it can be a really amazing tool, and just know going into it, if you're feeling a bit emotional, that's completely normal and okay. And also if it's really, really overwhelming, that could be a sign that there's something deeper there. So you can maybe back off a bit and not go as deep, or you can end that session and get that support that you need and then return to EFT at another time. So I want to make sure that you're safe and you feel supported when doing those sessions. Also with EFT, the idea is that we're typically going to tap on what it is that we want to release first. And then after we get all that out, we're going to put in the new oil, if you will. We're going to tap in the affirmations of the things that we do want to experience. Things that are helpful when you're scripting for EFT, so writing out your script. And you don't have to do a script, by the way. You can do it completely intuitively. I do that a lot as well. When you're scripting though, it really helps to, when you're tapping on what you want to release, it helps to ask yourself, this thing that I'm saying out loud or this thing that I'm tapping on, does it cause some kind of sensation in my body? To explain this a bit further, we've talked a lot about emotions and releasing emotions. So a sentence, for example, I hate noises, that's not necessarily an emotion. But if you say something like, I just hate noises, if that causes like a physical sensation in your body, tap on it. If saying something like, oh my gosh, noises are just dumb. If that's just like something where you're like, yeah, that's something that I like, yeah, noises are dumb, but it's not like causing any kind of sensation, then it's likely not something that needs to be tapped on. So basically, if it causes like you to feel maybe some kind of physical like tinge or sensation, tap on it. People even use EFT for physical pain. So headache, stomach pain. The motto for EFT is just try it on everything and see what works. It's a really, really cool modality. And like I said, if nothing else, if you're like, this is all junk science, it doesn't make any sense. If nothing else, it's just you intentionally committing to witnessing and processing and releasing your emotions so you can clear up your energy for the things that you want to focus on. Where you shift your attention, that's where your energy goes, and you create more of it. So if you're constantly going down the negative spiral and thinking, oh my gosh, everything sucks, I wish I could just be normal, misophonia is the worst, that's where your energy is going. You're going to create more of that in your life. But if you can shed that, if you can filter that out, now you have more energy to focus on, okay, what are the things that I can do to actually live a happier, healthier life? What are some things that I can do that are going to be more useful for me versus going down this spiral? So this is why I really love EFT. So if it causes some physical sensation, tap on it. The goal with the affirmations is that it's really helpful to keep them positive. So what I mean by positive is, instead of saying something like, I don't hate noises, can you shift that to no longer bothered? So just keeping it in a more positive, light, airy phrasing, and just really thinking on what is it that you want to experience. So if you're someone who's like, I just don't want to be annoyed anymore, okay, well then what do you want? So rather than focusing on what you don't want, just like we just talked about, focus on what you do want. So if you don't want to be annoyed, what do you want? Do you want to feel at ease? Do you want to feel calm? Do you want to feel indifferent? What's the other side of that? That's what you want to tap on for the affirmations. In EFT, we also have a scale that we can use to help us assess how effective our sessions are for ourselves. Now, the scale sometimes trips people up. You do not have to use a scale, but you can use it in a way that can enhance the effectiveness of your sessions. And it's almost like playing a little mind trick on the unconscious mind to help it get on board with our intention. So the traditional scale is a scale from 0 to 10. 0 being, this is the worst thing that I've ever experienced, to 0 being, this is not a problem at all, I don't even need this tapping session, to 10 being, this is the absolute worst thing I've ever experienced. So before even starting this session, asking yourself, where do I fall at on the scale from 0 to 10? If you're a 7, for example, okay, great. Your goal is you want to get as close to 0 or 1 as possible. So if you're at a 7, you're going to go through a round of the sequence, which is tapping on what you want to release. And then after that first round, you'll ask yourself again, okay, now on a scale from 0 to 7, where do I fall at on this scale? And you keep adjusting and you keep asking yourself the question until you get as close to 0 or 1 as possible. And again, you don't have to be tapping for 5 hours. If you find yourself stuck at a higher number, it's okay to move on. Sorry if you just heard my watch going off. Trust your intuition. It's okay to move forward. What could be happening is maybe it's a bit overwhelming and there's a lot going on. And this is something that is better to be processed over 2 or 3 sessions instead of working to process it all at once. Or maybe you've scratched the surface of what it is that you want to release, but there's something deeper. So you can even ask yourself some questions like, is there anything else that needs to be released right now? Is this really the issue, or is there something else behind it? So don't worry too much. If you've done several rounds of the sequence and you find yourself stuck at a higher number, don't panic. It's okay. Move on, and you can always return to the session again later. You can also reach out for support from someone who is certified in EFT who can help ask you some of those questions and help to make that session even more effective for you. So don't worry, get as close to 0 or 1 as possible. And if you're like, I've been doing this for 20 minutes, it's okay to move on. So if you're someone who the number scale is a bit confusing to you, you can also think of it a bit more visually. So maybe you're thinking of a thermometer, because all we're doing is we're just judging the temperature before and after doing this EFT session. So we're just using it as a tool to see if there is change in the environment. A higher number, a lower number doesn't mean that something is good or bad. We're just measuring a change in the environment. So you can think of it like those thermometers where it's red on this side. Actually, I'll just put a visual in this video where it's red on one side and green on the other and kind of yellow, orange in the middle. Where do you fall at on that? So maybe to start, you're all the way in the red. And then after one sequence, you go to the orange, then to the yellow, then to the green. Or you know how you go into those stores and you go to the self-checkout and it will say, hey, how was your experience? And it'll show you those different smiley faces with the different colors. Are you like the smiley face all the way over here who's great service, this is the best thing ever? Or are you like this guy all the way on this side that's oh my gosh, this experience sucked? Where do you find yourself at that scale? And if it's still messing you up, if it's still confusing, just ditch the scale and just do the session without it. Again, using the scale in a specific way, it can help you make these sessions even more effective. And also, if it's confusing you, if it's causing you stress, just ditch it. I am all about using what works and ditching the rest. So once you go through this sequence, once you find yourself toward that lower end of the scale or as close as possible, then you can go into the affirmations. It's the same tapping points. It's just tapping on what you want to call in. And that's basically your entire EFT session. The only thing we haven't talked about yet is the setup, which is the karate chop. And we're going to talk about that as we go into the tapping points. So starting with an EFT session, I think it helps to find a space where you won't be interrupted. There's not a lot of distractions. And also you can use EFT anywhere. That's one of the reasons why I love this modality. You just need your brain and your hands and your body. That's it. You can tap at the airport. You can tap if you're waiting in a parking lot. You can tap at home. I've tapped in the shower. You can do it anywhere. You don't have to have anything with you. You already have everything you need. That's why I think EFT is just an amazing modality, and it's free. There are so many free tutorials. You don't have to get certified in EFT like I did to benefit from it. So EFT, starting a session, I like to just take a deep breath in and out, and maybe just shake out any excess energy and just allow myself to just kind of relax and settle in. And then again, we start with the karate chop. So this right here. And it typically starts by saying, even though I'm experiencing, insert the thing that you're struggling with. So anxiety, frustration, rage, self-doubt, whatever it is. Even though I'm experiencing, insert thing, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And we typically tap on that 3 times. Then between every sequence, between every round of the affirmations, I like to take a deep breath in and out kind of just reset the nervous system. And then we will go through the tapping points. Those are as follows. We have the top of the head. We have just above the brow, just above the eyebrow. We have the side of the brow here, like right by the side of the eye, the temple. We have under the eye. We have under the nose. We have the chin. We have the collarbone. And then we have right here, the side, or kind of like where a bra strap would sit if you wear one, right here. And then kind of like a bonus tapping point that my instructors taught me, if you have more that you want to tap on, you can do the wrists as well. Those are the tapping points. Now, when it comes to tapping, do you have to do it on both sides of your body? You can if you want to. You can use just your right hand, you can use just your left hand, just intuitively do what feels right for you. You'll figure out what you prefer and what's most effective as you continue to do these sessions. Just make it your own. So it doesn't matter if you're doing left or right or both, just choose. Typically what I was taught is that you want to tap at least 7 times on that spot before moving to the next one. And you want to apply pressure, but you don't want to like poke your eye out. So, you want to apply some decent pressure, but you don't have to like bang on your head, right? It doesn't have to be super intense. Also, the way that you tap is up to you too. So like under the nose, for example, some people go like this. I typically go like this. It doesn't matter. You're just applying pressure. It doesn't matter how you're doing it. Again, you'll figure out what's most comfortable for you and what feels the best. Also, if you are someone who the tapping motions make you feel nauseous or anxious or uncomfortable, that's completely valid. I felt the same way when I first started using EFT, to the point where it was the thing that I was least excited to get certified in. And now it's one of my favorite modalities. It made me feel so weird, so I don't know, something about it just gave me the ick, but I pushed through that and started really slowly, and now I love it. So if you are someone who's in that, who's experiencing the same thing, I encourage you to start slow and really give it a shot. And if you find that you still don't like it, that's okay. There are other really amazing ways to process and release emotions without using EFT. So if you give it a couple tries and you're like, this just isn't for me, that's okay. And if at first you're like, this is weird, I encourage you to go slow and give yourself some time, because I was the same way. I have a lot of anxiety and it expresses itself in weird ways, but I got over it and now I love EFT and I love the benefits of it. So those are the tapping points. So again, let's kind of walk through what a session would look like. So we can focus on misophonia as a whole, or we can get a bit more focused. And let's say I want to focus on the rage that I'm feeling. So maybe I was at work, I had a whole day at work and I was just triggered left and right and I'm just so freaking angry and I don't want to take it out on my partner. So I'm going to do an EFT session to release that so that I don't take it out on my partner or my pets or my family or whoever else. So we can start with the karate chop. Even though I'm feeling frustrated, even though I'm feeling rage, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And we'll repeat that 3 times. And then again, I like to do the deep breath in and out. And then now we can start with our sequence. Oh, excuse me. I almost forgot the scale. See, I do this all the time. Then we want to put ourselves on that scale that I talked about. So on a scale from 0 to 10, 0 being not a problem at all, 10 being this is the worst thing ever, or being more in the red versus more in the green, that rage that you're feeling, where do you put yourself at on that scale? So let's say that you're like, I'm a 7, okay? So now we're going to go into the sequence. Again, you can do this intuitively. You can write out a script, however you want to do it. So it might be like this rage that I'm feeling, this frustration that's bubbling over, my clenched fists, my clenched jaw, this isn't fair, I wish it would just stop, this embarrassment that I feel, or maybe the shame that I feel, and this anger that's consumed me. This anger that's consumed me. That's it. So then you take another deep breath in and out. And then you ask yourself on that adjusted scale, on a scale from 0 to 7, where do I find myself? Maybe now you're a 4. You go through it again. You find yourself that you're a 3. Now you're a 2. Now you're a 1. You get to 0. Then we go into the affirmations, and the tapping points are exactly the same. So again, I take another deep breath in and out. I might shake off any remaining energy. I love physically just moving my body and just like shaking it out. Okay. And then going into those affirmations. So what do you want to experience? And again, you don't have to go completely toxic positivity, like total switch, like I'm so happy, I'm so excited, I'm feeling great. It can be gradually working up to more exciting emotions. So for example, you can start with this frustration that's dissipating, the anger that's releasing, loosening my grip, taking a deep breath in and out, tightness in my chest dissipating, right? So you can kind of lead into the things that you want to experience. And then maybe you get to a place where you're like feeling calm and at ease, feeling relaxed, feeling reset, feeling recharged, whatever. So you don't have to keep the affirmations the same every round. You can shift and work your way up to something that's more believable. So if saying like calm and at ease, if that doesn't feel believable, don't start with that. Just allow yourself to transition into a more neutral place before you start stepping into some of those more charged emotions. Even if they are positive, they still have kind of a higher frequency. And so shifting gradually can help your mind get on board with actually stepping into that state of being. Anyway, EFT is an amazing, amazing modality. That's just a really basic tutorial of how to use EFT, what the tapping points are. Again, I'm going to have links in the description. So if you want to learn more, see some research on EFT, learn more about what it is and how it works, they're going to describe it much better than I can. This is a modality that I'm certified in, and I've integrated it and I use it, and I use it with my clients. I develop sessions for them. But it's one of those things where it's like I'm not a scientist, and it's hard for me to put into words exactly like what it is and how it's so effective. I'm better at just like jumping in and doing it with you and doing it for myself. So if you want to learn more, check out the links in the descriptions, and then check out the Let's Ditch Misophonia channel, because you can find some amazing EFT tutorials there.